What's going on, guys? Corey from Diode Expedition here. In this video, we're going to be installing a 42-inch light bar from Diode Dynamics on our 3rd gen Tacoma. We have a Sherpa roof rack on there, so we're going to be using some brackets from Sherpa. We have a wiring harness here from Diode Dynamics, and then we have an OEM style switch. We're going to be showing you how to install that and get it wired. So it goes right into the dashboard. We're not going to have to be drilling any holes, and it's going to look like it's meant to be there. And then we have a KC wire hider. This is going to run alongside the windshield, and it's going to hide all the wiring, and it's going to make it a clean install. So like I said, this is the Diode Dynamics 42-inch Stage Series light bar. It's available in white and amber. It's going to have 5 driving lenses and 2 flood lenses, so it's going to give you a good combination of light when you're driving down the road or on the trail. This light bar does come with brackets and all the hardware needed to mount it universally, but like I said, we have a Sherpa roof rack up there on the Tacoma, so we're going to be using brackets made specifically for that. It's going to make the install super easy. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the install. So we're going to start with getting the brackets from Sherpa up onto the Sherpa roof rack. We have the hardware here that is included with the Sherpa brackets, and then these 2 bolts here, this comes in the hardware bag from the Diode Dynamics light bar. The only 2 bolts we're going to need are these. So let's go ahead and get these up there. Go ahead and slide these T-nuts in here for the roof rack. I'm going to go ahead and just get these started so that I can slide these brackets back and forth on the rail, like so. Go do the other side. All right, so we're gonna go ahead now and get the light bar mounted up to the brackets. Oh, you can only get it in like a half a turn. It's pretty tight. These are a 10, I think, and then the ones on the bracket are an 11 wrench. You just leave it like this. So when you're driving, and you hit bumps and stuff,
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's like self-leveling. I'm almost exact. Almost just under 2 inches.
That looks good to me. Go ahead and take these up. All right, easy part's done. We got the light bar mounted up there on the Tacoma. I'm gonna go ahead now and roughly run our wiring harness and get this hooked up and get the wiring ran through the firewall so we can get the OEM style switch installed. So just roughly laying out the wiring harness here. I'm gonna mount the relay probably on one of these threaded holes, which is an M8 bolt, and this does not fit an M8 bolt, so I'm just gonna have to drill that out. So that fits. We have our power and ground here to go to our battery, and then we have one line that's going up to the light bar and one line that is going to the interior. All right, we got that relay drilled out, so I'm gonna go ahead and mount that up here on the inner fender. So with the relay mounted, just make sure both your wires can reach your battery terminals. We're gonna wait to hook those up last. So we're gonna go ahead now and route the wire up to our light bar. So I'm gonna probably tuck that underneath some of the plastic pieces here, up underneath the fender. I'm gonna have it coming out here at the windshield cowl and then up the windshield. So we're trying to figure out the best way to route all of the wiring The plug and wire up on the light bar, the plug starts on the passenger side, and if you want to run the wire down the passenger side of the windshield, it seems to be just too short. That where the plug is kind of right where the hinge is, and it might get a little sketchy. Closing the hood, opening the hood, you might end up crushing it or something like that. So we have the wire running from the passenger side over to the driver's side, and then running down the driver's side of the windshield. But we're just gonna have to figure out a way to secure the wire up there so it's not just like kind of dangling down onto the roof. So whether we use some zip ties or something like that, or what we might be able to do is in the crossbars of the roof rack, there's the channels where you can put the T-nuts in. There might be just enough room for us to push the wire in there. It's gonna take a little bit of force, but we might be able to get it in there so that it stays. So we'll go ahead and get the wire hider installed onto the windshield. So we're gonna put this up there, get it cut to the right length, clean the windshield, put our double-sided tape on there, and it's simple as that. So I'm just gonna lay this up here so I can get my length roughly, and we'll go ahead, take some scissors or a knife, and we'll cut that right there. Make sure your windshield is clean, so we'll go ahead and wipe that down. And then the kit also comes with an alcohol pad, so we're gonna wipe this with alcohol and also the wire hider itself. Now we'll just take the double-sided tape, and it's going to be going in the groove here on the wire hider. You might have to kind of bend it straight while you're applying the tape because it's naturally curved. So just like any other time you're applying double-sided tape to things, you want to make sure it's clean and you want to make sure it's not cold out. So if you're in a climate where it's going to be cold, make sure to just warm the stuff up before you go ahead and install it. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing installed onto our windshield. Just go right alongside the OEM window seal. Make sure to press it down pretty good. And now we can go ahead and tuck our wire in there. So with the wire routed down our wire hider, we're gonna have some extra here, as you can see. So there's a little clip right here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this out so I can run the wiring through this section. I want to run it down through there and then under here. So we can go ahead and put that clip back in now. And I'm going to bunch this up, zip tie it together, and I'm going to tuck it up underneath so that it's under this plastic. Also, along the side of the window, the windshield cowl, it's kind of like rubber. I'm going to lift up on that, and I'm going to push the wiring underneath so that it's hidden, and then we won't have any problems with the hood hinge potentially smushing the harness. So with that wire ran and everything tucked up in here nicely, next we have to run our wiring for the switch. So we're going to be taking off this switch here since we're not going to be using it. I'm going to wrap some electrical tape around this so it's nice and bundled together so we can get it through that hole and pulled into our interior. We're only going to be able to pull it up to here because this is not going to fit through the hole in the firewall, which means we're going to have all of this extra out here in the engine bay. We're going to have to tidy up and tuck away somewhere like we did with the other wire. If you wanted to run all of this inside, you're going to end up probably having to cut this plug out and rewiring these wires back together. So go ahead and pull that off. Like I said, I'm going to tape these together and then route that through the hole. So right here, we're going to be pulling out the rubber grommet on the firewall. We're going to be running the wire through that. So the padding here, as you can see, I'm moving it. It's pretty solid, and you're not going to be able to move it very easily to push the wiring through. So what I'm going to do is, from the inside of the truck, I'm going to mark where the hole is, and I'm going to make a little cut with a razor blade. All right, I got that hole made through the padding. Just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to tape on a zip tie and push the zip tie through first, and then I'll be able to pull the wiring harness through. So with our wiring pulled through, we can go ahead and start getting ready to put in our switch. So we're going to put our hand in here next to the steering column, and we're going to start pulling out the plastic paneling. Just work your way along the top. We'll pull those clips out and pop the clips off on the right side of the steering wheel. All right, so we got that popped out. It is still connected down here on the bottom underneath this other panel, so you can't pull it down too far, but now we have enough room that we can run our wiring up here, and we can go ahead and pop out this dummy switch. There's just two clips right here. You can just pop that out really quickly, and we can get our new switch installed, and we'll get that wired up to our light bar harness. New switch just simply snaps in place and works just like your OEM switches. So you guys can connect these however you would like. I thought I had some male connectors that would fit in here, and we don't. So I'm going to end up going ahead and cutting off these connectors that come on the harness and just wiring it together a different way. But what you're going to be doing is taking the two red wires. We're going to be splicing these together like so, and that's going to connect to our blue wire. The green wire is going to be connecting to the white, and then black to black. So I'm going to go ahead and get all those connected. So we got all those crimped together, hooked up to the right wires. Now we can just go ahead and we'll tuck that back in there. We'll get this plugged in to our new switch, and then we can go up and hook everything up to the battery. So that's pretty much it. The only thing we have to do now is just clean up all of this extra wire here and either tuck it down so you can't see it or tuck it up underneath this plastic. But let's go ahead and test out the light bar and make sure everything's working properly. All right guys, that's gonna wrap up this install of the 42-inch Diode Dynamics light bar on the 3rd gen Tacoma. If you have any questions about any of the parts that we used in this video, make sure to ask us down below in the comments. And if you wanna pick up any of those parts, you can head over to yodeexpedition.com or click the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.